The first time Princess Zyra of the Aurelian Dominion saw a human, she laughed. It was not a cruel laugh, at least not by her people's standards, but it carried the light, ringing amusement of someone who had never once doubted her own superiority. She stood on the observation balcony of the sky's citadel, violet robes fluttering in the artificial wind, bioluminescent veins faintly glowing beneath her translucent skin. Below her, the grand concourse of delegates buzzed with representatives from 1,000 worlds. And there, standing awkwardly at the center of it all, was a human. He was smaller than most species present, lacking natural armor, claws, wings, or visible energy fields. His skin was dull and opaque. His clothing was simple, dark fabric reinforced with only the most basic adaptive weave. No insignia of rank glowed on his chest. No entourage surrounded him. Princess Zyra leaned on the crystalline railing and tilted her head. "That," she said, amused, "is the creature the council invited to speak on behalf of Earth?" Her aide, a tall being of living light named Seraph, inclined his head. "Yes, Your Radiance. His name is Elias Mercer, a strategist, a negotiator." Zyra laughed again, softer this time, her laughter echoing like chimes through the air. "He looks breakable." Seraph did not smile. Humans often do. That only made her laugh harder. Elias Mercer was painfully aware of every eye on him. The Grand Concourse was a vast amphitheater carved from a single piece of starstone, its surface shifting colors in response to the emotional frequencies of those present. Right now, it shimmered with skepticism, curiosity, and more than a little disdain. Elias adjusted his stance, grounding himself the way his training had taught him. Breathe, observe, adapt. Earth had not been invited to the Aurelian Dominion lightly. The Dominion was ancient, older than most stars still burning, and its members ruled trade routes, energy nexuses, and wormhole gates that entire civilizations depended on. Earth, by comparison, was a newcomer, barely past its interstellar adolescence. And yet Earth had sent him, not a general, not a diplomat steeped in centuries of tradition, just Elias. A voice boomed across the concourse, amplified by harmonic resonance rather than sound. "Elias Mercer of Earth," the herald intoned. "You may speak." Elias stepped forward. "Honored members of the Dominion," he began, his voice steady despite the weight pressing down on him. "I stand here not to beg for inclusion, nor to challenge your authority. I stand here because Earth believes cooperation is stronger than conquest, and understanding more powerful than fear." A ripple passed through the crowd. Skepticism deepened. Some delegates exchanged amused glances. High above, Princess Zyra leaned forward, intrigued despite herself. He spoke, well, she had to admit, for a human. Elias continued, outlining Earth's proposal. Shared research corridors, mutual defense accords, cultural exchanges. Nothing revolutionary, nothing threatening. And yet, as he spoke, Zyra felt something unexpected. Annoyance. Because he was calm. Because he did not bow. Because he did not sound afraid. When he finished, silence hung heavy in the air. Then Zyra straightened, her presence radiating outward like a pulse. "Human," she said, her voice carrying effortlessly down to him. "You speak of cooperation. But what do you offer that we do not already possess?" Elias looked up, meeting her gaze. The Dominion gasped. Direct eye contact with an Aurelian royal was considered bold, dangerous. Elias answered simply, "Perspective." Zyra arched an elegant brow. "Explain." "Your dominion has existed for millennia," Elias said. "You perfected stability, order, predictability. Humans, by contrast, are chaotic. We adapt quickly because we have to. We see possibilities others dismiss. We survive not because we are strongest, but because we refuse to stop trying." Zyra laughed again, this time sharp. "Survival is not dominance. she said. And persistence is not power. Elias hesitated only a fraction of a second. Then test us, he said. The concourse erupted in murmurs. Zyra's laughter died. Test you how? Elias took a breath. Set a challenge, he said. One that reflects what your people value. If a human fails, Earth accepts your judgment. If we succeed, then you acknowledge we are more than you assume. Silence fell like a blade. Zyra stared down at him, her eyes glowing brighter. A challenge. Among the Aurelian, challenges were sacred. They bound honor, fate, and consequence together. They were not made lightly. She smiled. Very well, she said. I accept your audacity. Sereth leaned toward her, alarm flickering through his luminous form. Your radiance. Silence. Zyra said, I's never leaving Elias. I will choose the challenge myself. She rose from her seat, her presence commanding the entire concourse. Human, she declared, you will face a trial of convergence. The murmurs turned to gasps. Elias felt his stomach drop. He had read about it. Everyone had. The trial of convergence was not a test of strength or intelligence alone. It was a trial of mind, will, empathy, and adaptability, designed by the Aurelian to determine whether a being could harmonize with forces far beyond themselves. Few non-Aurelian had ever attempted it. Fewer still had survived. If you fail, Zyra continued, Earth will be barred from Dominion space for a century. If you succeed, she paused, a mischievous glint in her eyes. I will grant you any boon within my power. The concourse exploded in sound. Elias swallowed. Any boon. He met her gaze again. I accept, he said. And that was when Princess Zyra laughed the hardest of all. The trial began 3 cycles later. Elias stood alone in the heart chamber, a vast spherical space suspended within the sky's citadel. The walls were alive with flowing energy, shifting between colors that made his eyes ache if he stared too long. At the center of the chamber hovered the convergence core, a lattice of impossible geometry, folding and unfolding in on itself. This was the Dominion's greatest artifact. It amplified thought, emotion, and intent, forcing the challenge to confront not only external obstacles, but their own deepest truths. Zyra watched from a high observation platform, arms folded, confidence radiating from her like heat. He won't last an hour, she said softly. Sereth was not so sure. Humans have surprising thresholds. The trial began. The core flared, and Elias felt reality twist. He was no longer in the chamber. He stood on Earth, not the Earth of now, but the Earth of his childhood. Cracked pavement, flickering streetlights, the sound of distant sirens. His hands trembled. The core was probing his memories, his fears. A voice echoed around him, neither male nor female. Why do you stand alone among the stars? Elias clenched his fists. Because someone has to, he said. The scene shifted. He was on a battlefield in space, watching Earth's first colony ship explode under pirate fire. He smelled smoke, heard screams. You are weak, the voice whispered. Your kind always has been. Elias dropped to one knee, pain lancing through his chest. I know, he said through gritted teeth. That's why we learn. The core intensified, pressing harder. He felt despair, rage, fear, all magnified 1,000-fold. High above, Zyra's smile faded. He should be breaking, she murmured. But Elias did not break. Instead, he adapted. He stopped resisting the pain and let it flow through him. He remembered Earth's history, wars, mistakes, recoveries. He remembered humanity's stubborn refusal to vanish, the way they rebuilt after every collapse. I'm not here to prove we're perfect, he said aloud. I'm here to prove we endure. The illusion shattered. Elias was back in the chamber, gasping, sweat pouring down his face. The core pulsed again. This time, it showed him the future. A vision of Earth isolated, forgotten, slowly fading. Elias felt tears sting his eyes. "No," he whispered. "Then choose," the voice said. "What will you sacrifice?" Elias looked at the swirling energy, understanding dawning. The trial demanded balance. He reached out, not with his hands, but with his intent, and offered something the core had not expected. Hope, not blind optimism, not arrogance, but the quiet, persistent belief that connection was worth the risk. The core's light changed. For the first time in its long existence, it resonated with a human. The chamber shook. Alarms flared. Zyra stood abruptly, her heart pounding. "What is he doing?" she demanded. Saratha's voice was awed. "He's harmonizing." The core flared once more, and then went still. Silence fell. Elias collapsed to the floor, unconscious, and the trial ended. When Elias awoke, he was in a chamber unlike any he had seen before. Soft light filled the space. The air hummed gently. He felt lighter. "You surprise me," a voice said. He turned his head. Princess Zyra stood beside him, no longer distant, no longer elevated above him. She wore no crown, no ceremonial glow, just simple attire, her luminous veins dimmed. "You passed," she said. Elias blinked. "I did." "Yes," she said quietly. "You achieved convergence." He exhaled, a shaky laugh escaping him. "Guess I didn't break after all." Zyra studied him closely. "When you challenged me," she said, "I thought you foolish. When you accepted the trial, I thought you arrogant." She paused. "I was wrong." Elias sat up slowly. "So, about that boon." A faint smile curved her lips. "Ah, yes," she said. "Any boon within my power." She straightened, regal even without her crown. "Among my people," she continued, "a challenge accepted and won by the challenger, and the challenge in honor. You did not merely prove humanity's worth." Elias frowned. "What did I do, then?" Zyra met his eyes, her gaze steady, serious. "You claim me." His heart skipped. "I what?" "The laws of the Dominion are clear," she said. "A royal who issues a personal challenge and loses becomes bound to the victor. Traditionally, this is symbolic, a political alliance, a shared duty." She took a step closer. "But you did not ask for land, or power, or privilege." "No," Elias said softly. "I just wanted a chance." Zyra nodded. "And so," she said, "Princess Zyra of the Aurelian Dominion belongs to the human who dared to challenge her." Elias stared at her, stunned. She laughed again, but this time it was different, warm, genuine. "Do not misunderstand," she added. "I am no one's prisoner. This bond is a partnership." Elias smiled faintly. "Good, because I'm terrible with royalty." Her laughter echoed through the chamber, bright and unrestrained. Perhaps, she thought, this human was not so breakable after all. And as the stars beyond the citadel burned on, the Dominion and Earth changed forever,